Former Facebook workers are saying that the site suppressed conservative news media outlets, especially in its news feed, which typically shows what's trending at a particular time or what is the most popular at a particular time. And that could be pretty interesting if true. The sources are anonymous at this point, and we're speaking to Gizmodo. So in their most influential section, they would show certain stories, but maybe stories about the Republican Party or Paul Ryan or Rand Paul would be weeded out in some ways. And this looks like, according to this, certain news organizations that do have a conservative bias, including Drudge Report, Breitbart, Washington Examiner, and Newsmax were among the conservative organizations that were flagged from removal from the trending section. Depending on who was on the shift, things would be blacklisted or trending. I'd come on shift and I'd discover that CPAC or Mitt Romney or Glenn Beck or popular conservative topics wouldn't be trending because either the curator didn't recognize the news topic or it was like they had a bias against Ted Cruz. So that is a pretty outstanding allegation, if true. Facebook has responded to this, particularly from Tom Stocky, who is an executive in charge of the trending section. He said that Facebook has rigorous guidelines in place to ensure neutrality that do not permit the suppression of political perspectives. He also went on to say that while human editors can curate the trending stories feature, the technology prohibits those curators from discriminating against certain stories. He didn't really go into detail about how the technology works, but he did say it is made to weed out hoaxes and junk stories, like fake news stories about whatever. There are sites that do this.
I mean, basically we're saying that Facebook works just like any other news platform. Their algorithm picks the stories that are most popular and that are trending, and then their curators curate. I mean, it's that simple. And of course, there's a human element. And the problem being not that it's curated, it's that it goes against kind of what they are saying happens. So they're saying that there is no bias and that they are in no way censoring the conservative stories. And yet here we have the employees saying that that is exactly what happens.
That is an interesting and a good topic that I'm glad you brought up, which is, does Facebook have a responsibility to do this? I mean, if you go look at any other news site, like the ones listed here, like Breitbart, Drudge Report, Washington Examiner, they're going to curate stories that they want to cover, and that is their responsibility and their prerogative, really. And any other website that you go to that is allegedly objective or liberal or conservative will certainly go and choose whatever stories they want to do. And if they don't, then they don't. It's not really a problem from that perspective. However, where the problem is if you say this is objectively what's most popular, that could be an issue. I think it does go down to terminology, which you could maybe even define, what does trending mean?
And if you think of the people who are looking through these trending news and you think of the actual employees and the curators for these sites, they are a small group of journalists, primarily
for Facebook?
Yes,
they probably aren't.
They are journalists from Ivy League, private East Coast,
who now work for Facebook curating,
who work as curators for these news.
Wow.
And so, of course, they're going to infuse it with, their political views and the topics that interest them. Also, the corporation has institutional values that they also support, which is probably part of that as well. So, I mean, I think that the only problem from where I stand is not that they're curating it to suit their needs, because you can get your news sources from wherever you want to go. It's the fact that they are being hypocrites about it and saying that that does not happen and that it is not biased. It's not just the algorithm. They're curating it.
So you're saying is, they are curating it, and that's fine. The only problem is you saying you're not curating it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that makes a lot of sense, and that would probably stand true across the web objectively for different websites, which is, I mean, you chose this, but you chose this, and we should all know that you chose this. I'm going to lean that way too. Actually, I mean, they do weed out stories, news stories about Facebook, which maybe is less cool to me than what they've been doing otherwise.
Except since the publication of all this controversy with Gizmodo, they have allowed this news to be trending. They have allowed this story.
So do you think that's more like them going, see? Look, we're fair and balanced.
So I mean, we'll see. Maybe they change their policies now. Maybe they do work based solely on the algorithm and popularity and numbers, and they stop curating. I don't necessarily see the problem with it, except them kind of coming out outraged at the suggestion that they are biased. And I mean, I think they should just own it.
I think they probably are biased, but I think most of us are biased, and I think most news sites are biased. And you have to think about, is that a bad thing or a good thing? And
We were talking about earlier, it's one of those things where you can have an opinion, but you want this to be well informed. I think that's the whole point, is people don't want to feel like they are not getting the full story. So you can be biased so long as you're still trying to objectively present as much information on both sides as you can. As you can.
This could also be Facebook trying to maybe form a certain culture, I guess, because if you have this, trending section with all of these topics that you find objectionable from your point of view, maybe you're like, I don't like the culture of where this website is going. I don't like the idea that it's breeding more of this information that I don't deem accurate or true. It's an interesting scenario to look at.
How many people do we know that have left Facebook because Facebook is curating their political story?
Yeah, that's true. I've deleted people because I didn't like what they had to say. But that's my private feed and up to me. And I guess you could argue this is Facebook's private website, and it's kind of up to them. Audience, where do you fall on this? Do you think that Facebook has a responsibility to not weed out a point of view, a conservative point of view? Let us know below in the comments, and please like and subscribe for more.